Well, hello there, YouTube. It's Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. And I was actually hoping to get this video out like last Thursday, maybe, or Wednesday before the Thanksgiving weekend, so you guys would have something to sit down and watch while Uncle Joe's farting in the corner, right? But I ran into all kinds of problems. You know, the video was really going to be about how this whole thing started, because it's been a little over 1 year now since I first started this project. And how I started this project was I thought I was just going to be changing the rear seal, right? So we've made a full leap around now. We're over here and I'm ready to put the seal and plate back onto the back of this engine over here. But I ran into some problems. And so unfortunately, you know, it started before the holiday, and then I had other issues, and, you know, we had company and all that, so I couldn't release this video. And because I failed, I still have both of these plates sitting in front of me. So this is the old one and this is the new one. So, and that's kind of where this video is going to be taking place, is at that point there. So I got no farther. All right, so I documented as I tried to do this. All I'm really trying to do, you guys, is do nothing more than take those little balls and put them in those holes, right? That's all I'm doing, just swapping them. Actually, I have two brand new ones. But I failed. Several different attempts, several different ways people have shared with me. I've kind of failed at this point. But I'm going to catch you right at the end of this, and at the end of the video of all my failures, and I'll tell you how I'm going to proceed to move forward. And so hopefully the next video, okay, is nothing more than me showing you what I did to get those stupid balls in there and putting that darn plate and seal on the back of that thing so we can close up the back end and get the engine back on its stand, right? And then start working on the front cover. That's right, timing chain, guides, oil pump, right? Pan, right? Heads. I can't wait. So why don't I catch up with you guys right at the end? It's going to be a short little video, I think, as long as I get going. If you guys would like to support this project, you know, all you got to do is subscribe. It's not about money. It's just about getting the name out, letting people know. You can see that a lot of these things that I'm doing, including this right here, is probably the first time you're ever going to see it on YouTube, at least. Maybe someone else will do it, but I've never seen it done. Seems like some of the machinists around here have never seen it done either. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. I'll catch you guys later. Old cover, new cover. So I've compared them. I'm not sure if I shared that video or not, but we'll do a quick little comparison. They're virtually identical. The part number for this one is listed there, and the part number for the new one is there. About the only difference, really, besides some small little cosmetics, like it's not exactly the same shape or whatever, but hole alignment and everything is perfect. In the video where this whole thing started, of course, was the rear seal. So, and that's when we found out that this had spun and just put in all kinds of grooves here. One of the big differences of these two is probably easier to see from this side, and that is that they put this little curve in the bottom, and I think that's so they don't stand the oil, right? It has a place to fall back into the pan, where the other one didn't have that. It's just there, so that whole time, you know, oil's sitting and building up, or just sitting on that seal and probably leaking through. So I think that that was an improvement. The old one has these little balls in these two holes. The new one has pass-through. We have to take these out and put them in here. It has it's a taper. Taking these out, take a little disc like I did here, and place that on this side, and then have your pin, and then either put it in a vise and bring it together, and just press it out. That's how you can do it. I've done it, and then I pressed it back in. I found the balls, and I bought new ones. That way there I can just kind of keep my original in stock. You know, everything that I took off the car, I'm keeping. So we don't need this anymore, but we're keeping it. What I could have done was just put that ball right there. And that's what I meant by that recess, is that you can actually press that in as is. In my previous video, we installed the rods, and I had question on the bolts, on the rod bolts, right? And the manual says you bang them in, but that's not how it's really done. I know of someone who actually has a machine that uses it, and it's a paraffin. They use paraffin, and they press them in. But it's just it's like a lubricant. Like that. There we go. There we go. I'm going to use this. They say it's got all kinds of torque. These are rubber feet. I was hoping that I can just set this in there and then just take this, like I said, and squeeze it. I'm going to go ahead and back it off and see where we are. Nowhere. That absolutely did not work. All right, well, I almost lost that ball, so I went and grabbed something to put it in. And then to be extra safe, I'm going to put the other one in there too. All right, so now we have our balls, so hopefully I don't lose them. Oh, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? You know, not every guy's going to have a bench vise, but you might have one of these, a little C-clamp or something. So I wanted to see if this would work. I've got plenty of room. As you can see, I can even hold it up here if I want, just to be extra safe. Look at that. Let's see if it went at all. I think it's going to take more than that, because that ball is not in. It was a lot easier getting out. Of course, the other one, and then you put it back in, it was easier. But it's not going to be that easy in the new one. So direct press isn't going to work. So what if I got that super cold and tried to put it in there? Is that possible at all? So I'm going to spray this to the side. I don't think that that's going to make any difference at all. It did make it colder. Let's see if we made any progress. Nope. So what I'm doing here is measuring this, and you see this says 6.33 millimeter. That's the new ball, but it's 6.3. They're identical. So that's the old one. There's no sense in me trying to put the old one in it. They're identical size. Everything's identical. It's just we need to figure out a different way to press that in. I cannot tell if you can see that or not, but that's red Loctite. And I knew Tassos, and I asked him, how do I put those balls in there? I can heat this in the oven, and then we'll cool that down, and we're going to put red Loctite on there and press it, I believe. We'll figure it out. So I pressed the old one right back in using this. So what's the easiest way to get these out? I have an M6 bolt that I cut the tops off of. Actually, I have two of them. We're going to use that to help us guide this plate on. But after I made these for that, I thought, oh, you know, that'd work great if I just put that in that hole and then just take a rubber mallet, you know, hold your hand behind the back side there. And there you go. Thread locker 271. All the way around. And let's take this over to the vise. So then, I thought I'd just get my thing in a basket. Why not cool it down? Set it in the cover here. It's got it. Okay, let's see. Well, it's just barely in. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it. All right, so yeah, so we're right back here, right? And so Tassos mentioned something about, you know, it's overkill, but this was something that we discussed. Now, I got to tell you guys, we talked about this in August, and the reason is because I knocked those balls out in August and I put those balls back in the old cover. And that's because, you know, it had already been stretched. So it's a lot easier to put it back in. We have a new cover. I measured the back sides of these, of the plate. So I know, everything's the same. So the opening of this hole is the exact same size as that. The balls are identical. So I don't think anything that we've done has been wrong. The problem is that I just don't have the proper tools. So what did I do? On Monday, right after the holiday, I went to the machine shop. Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to mention the name because, you know, I'm not a fan of, of these machine shops. I don't know. So I brought it in and the guy looked at it. He says, I've never seen anything like that before. And this is a company that's been in business for a very long time, around 30 years or so, I guess. But they've never seen anything like that. And, you know, they have these big 12-ton presses and, you know, these giant hydraulic presses for pressing bearings out. You know, you guys have done that. But also, if you guys have pressed out a bearing, you know, putting in a bearing is just as difficult. But what about when they sleeve it and stuff, right? They put that thing in nitrogen, you know, and they may heat up the block. They just drop right in, right? So everything we've done so far has been correct. We just haven't quite got to the necessary positions we need to be. So I don't know if I necessarily need to heat this up as much as I need to cool down the little balls. So they're sitting on dry ice. Now, I'm not going to do this today because what the machine shop that I brought this to, and I had called another one as well, you know, and I've never done it. They've never seen anything like that. It seems like I have before. I mean, you guys know that all these M116, M117, M119, basically these are all identical covers. All right, so, and they all have the little balls in it. Why Mercedes didn't just install that for me, I just don't know. But these are where the guide pins that are on the block, right? Those little guide pins, I don't know if you can really see them over there or not. So those little guide pins are a little over 5 millimeters, right? And then here, these plates are only 12 millimeter at best. This is under 12 actually. And so you only have 7 millimeter at most. So using these set screws is really not going to do it because they'll protrude out, you know, at least the ones that I find, the 8 millimeters or 8 millimeters. Now they do have these black oxide coated steel ones, which of course could rust, but you know, the ones that I find really, they're designed to use in wood. They're not designed to be using in your car. So that brings us right back again to where we started. So I wanted to point out, you guys, so you see, you probably noticed throughout there's like these marks, and you say, oh man, he really did that. Well, I did that in August. Yeah, I did that in August when I first started this project. That's how I did it. I used a stupid little nut on there and pushed it from the other side and let that come through the hole of the nut. Well, that wasn't a smart idea. The idea of just sticking that thing in there and banging it out, that's the best way to do it. So again, I'm right back to where we started, and the machinist says, you know, hey, I'll go ahead, and this is a different machinist, by the way. It's not the same guy I took the heads to. This is another guy. But they, you know, he says, I'll go ahead and do it, but, you know, I'm going to let you know that I probably will destroy that, or, you know, I think I might break it. He doesn't know. He says, it might go in really easy, but I don't really know because, you know, I've never done it before. And you can pay me $100, you know, to do it or whatever. And I says, well, you know, why should I give him the glory of destroying it? You know, why don't I destroy it myself? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So that's what I went on eBay. You know, the machinists only have hydraulic presses and stuff like that. You know, I don't know why they don't have a hand press. But that's what I did. I got on eBay and I searched out a hand press and I ordered a hand press, and that's what I'm waiting for. Right? So when that hand press comes, you are going to witness me destroying this or successfully achieving the insertion of those balls. It could be the first ever on the internet. But that's the plan. I'm going to be doing that here shortly. Again, you know, I'm waiting for it to arrive, right? I'm waiting for that thing to arrive. And once it arrives, I will go ahead and get it all set up, and I'm going to press these balls in. So either I'm going to destroy this cover, or I'm going to be buying a new one. That's what's going to end up happening. I think that's the thing to do. And, you know, why give that guy all the glory, right? So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to stick that thing, and we're going to put it on the back of this stupid block and close that thing up once and for all. And then we can move on and get onto the front cover, the timing chain, the guides, and, you know, the oil pump and the cylinder heads, and can you guys believe it? I mean, we're really at that point. We're actually at that point. I thought this thing, you know, I thought I would have been beyond this. I was hoping this week to start on the front cover. I'm scared, sure, but why not get it all done? So at any rate, that's what's going to happen on the next video. Stay tuned for that. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to get here, but as soon as it gets here, I'll set it up and we'll tackle this thing. All right, guys, thanks again for subscribing and have a great week, all right?